one more presentation from Mark Emmett. He is the Group Chief Data Officer of the Dentist Aegis Network. And Mark is one of those people that was mentioned earlier by John. He's actually more of a scientist than a marketer. He has got a science degree as well. And all of his roles that he's had in various organizations before Dentsu Aegis have been very much focused on data analytics. He's been at Money Supermarket as their head of data analytics. He's been a CIO, so he's very technical. So a CIO in a marketing technology organization as well. As well as worked on the creative side in an agency, again in a very much data-driven role. So welcome, Mark. Mark's going to be taking us through some thoughts on how data can be used in B2B marketing.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. So just to finish off with the horror of somebody with a science degree, I might as well get it out there as well. I'm also a fellow of the Royal Statistical Society, which never ever go down well apart from potentially audiences like this, but maybe not even here, certainly not in a bar or a pub. I think they purely have me there for entertainment value as someone who turns up in a pink shirt and talks about marketing and attribution and other such things, but we'll go straight to a grey background because we're talking about data, Chief Data Officer. What does that actually mean? As Edward was saying earlier on, sort of the Dentsu Aegis network is a network agency sort of across Cara Enterprise, Cara, Visium, iProspect, etc. So a lot of huge brands in terms of their own standing. And I joined Dentsu Aegis earlier this year as I was just introduced sort of previously at McCann, so where I looked after the data services division. So it was a whole range of solutions that we would give to clients, whether it's sort of around clustering, segmentation, propensity models, that side of things. Was also at Money Supermarket, which was a great experience. Was there for about 5 years. Looked after the analytics and relationship marketing team there. So the whole end-to-end process of having DBAs in the team, all the way through to copywriters and creatives. So that was it was nice to be sort of there, sort of in terms of that end-to-end journey, in terms of customers' interaction on your site, all the way through to the end product communication that they received at the other end. Was a CIO for a tech company, and really that sort of plays back into a lot of the points that we've been making about sort of decision-making units. The technology that this company had was around visitors. When they were on your website, they were able to generate a unique telephone number for every single customer that was on your website. So there's lots of companies that do it at a campaign level, so this person's come through PPC, therefore show this number. But this was actually visitor by visitor, which allows you obviously to tie back to your marketing solution and optimization suites. So I joined Dentsu Aegis Group's Chief Data Officer. This is a new role for the entire organisation, and sort of touch a bit more on that because it's a lot when we're talking about data and analytics. It's a cultural thing often more than anything else. So this is really my sort of rationale in everything that we do. It's about keeping things very, very simple. It's very easy to sort of go off and sort of look at really big, broad solutions. I've worked in the past with companies who want to put in very large data warehousing projects, analytics platforms, and without really sort of understanding the very basics around sort of just a typical sort of RFM type model about what customers are doing, how can we sort of be talking to customers at a better level rather than having to look at very, very advanced solutions. Also looked at things like understanding telesales performance. You can sort of use analytical processes, and one company that I was at, you found that certain individuals on a Friday afternoon of the last Friday of every month would just seemingly sign up anybody up to their products, try to get them on board, and there was such a high cancellation the next month from those same customers. And it's a way that you can start to use analytics to sort of within your own teams to start to understand what's happening, sort of to really sort of help optimize your own companies sort of internally as well. So as I say, it's sort of about keeping it very simple, do lots of experiments, try and keep things, lots of test and learn cycles, rather than just put all money into sort of big projects and sort of just say, well, we're going to get the answer to that in 2 years' time once this platform's in place, etc. Sort of just continue to iterate through things. A theme actually that's come through a lot is sort of around this whole convergence between technology and people. Sort of the end customer actually expects more now out of our marketing just from our own behaviour as consumers. We're all consumers at the end of the day as well, and that point of convergence in terms of a conversion point in itself is really critical to sort of understanding where that has been led from, and we'll sort of come on to it sort of in terms of whether it's attribution or sort of just understanding the overall sort of marketing mix. And the leverage of data sort of is really key sort of within an organization. At its most basic, it's just about getting all of the data that you have within an organization, put it all together and join it up. And that's, I mean, it sounds really, really simple, but culturally that's a huge step sometimes for organizations to make. There's often sort of online and offline marketing departments within organizations, which, you know, as an outsider, you just think, why are businesses sort of structured in this particular way? And it's really the way that my role in various companies has sort of played out. It's companies recognizing the fact that they want to break down a lot of the silos that exist within organizations and just start to build up in terms of the great resources and assets that exist in a business, but actually they don't have the sort of the capability to sort of break down those silos. So they put in sort of, you know, these types of roles to sort of start to do that and leverage the people who already exist there and sort of doing absolutely amazing work, but just put it into a framework to really start to leverage the data asset itself. And I think it's also really critical to ensure that a company becomes data and insight led. We at Dentsu Aegis have we've created a data council, and this was a key decision in decision point really for me joining. It's a huge step anyway for any organisation to sort of say we're going to take data and insight analytics as being the absolute heart of what we do, and we're going to build out from that. There's often, you know, marketing departments are doing one thing over here, and there's IT departments here, and you can read goodness knows how many articles about the relationship between CTOs and CMOs. But actually, for an organisation, especially an agency network, to say we're going to put this framework in place. So we're sort of really tasked with delivering an innovative, consistent and scalable data and analytics product roadmap for the entire organisation. So again, it's crucial sort of in any organisation that it's culturally felt that this is a key battleground and a key place where you can win and differentiate yourself in terms of customers. I didn't tell you at the beginning that it was only about 5 minutes because I only had 5 slides. So it was just an opportunity sort of on the back of Kara's great research to come and sort of talk to you and sort of make an introduction really. But talking about the cultural pieces, sort of it's always nice, and I always try to do it sort of at the end to just leave with something that people can sort of take away and take home in terms of what can we be doing tomorrow that will better our marketing. as I said earlier, it sounds quite easy. Get all the data, put it in one place, and then start to sort of gain insights from it. But in order to be able to do that, you have to ensure that everything is tracked. I was talking earlier about sort of the offline piece. When somebody picks up a phone, which often happens in some of the sort of decision making processes that Edward was talking about, when you're faced with a £100,000 purchase, or as a consumer it might be your health insurance, etc., just where you want the reassurance of talking to somebody, a lot of the tools that exist sort of just suddenly there's a black box and nobody knows what's happened, and all this marketing money has been spent on trying to get to that point of that conversion, and it's suddenly all lost. So ensuring everything's tracked, there's a whole range of products and solutions that are available to do that. And then from there you can start to understand how each element leads to conversions. Of obviously Adobe sort of work in that sort of space as well as many others. And it's from that point that you have everything linked together that you can then start to build on that, sort of in terms of the more advanced techniques like econometric modelling or market mix modelling, to start to pull in, well, how is my TV ad doing? What's my print display, whatever it may be, sort of to start to understand that whole ecosystem about all of these different marketing channels, and start to look at the optimization curves that we also saw early. But I'll end it there, and just my rationale, my sort of my mantra, as I say, is sort of simple yet significant, and sort of just try to keep everything really simple, lots of test and learn experiments, but thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mark. So we have got quite a bit of time for questions. So if you have got questions, we certainly see that data and technology are the challenging areas, and often the areas that are most interesting to discuss. I think IBM actually has some research on this, on the global CMO study, that said that the biggest challenge that CMOs had was how to tackle the data and technology challenge in their organization. So that's exactly what we're talking about today. That's what John was talking about at Adobe, and what Mark has alluded to from the agency perspective as well. So these aren't easy topics to tackle. There must be lots of conversations taking place on this in your individual organizations. So I would welcome some questions on data and technology, and how to join up those elements together from your perspective as well. Was it too big a topic? Sometimes it's too big of a topic to get started, and that's exactly what Mark was talking about. It's almost, we don't get started because it feels like it's too big of a challenge. It's too big of a mountain to climb, and the start is often with the smallest, simplest things. It could be just a simple question. Perfect. There was one here in the front.
Thanks. It's probably just some feedback, really, having been on that journey for probably nearly 3 years now. It's a complex journey to join all those things up in the beginning, and you have to have a real sense of relentlessness about what your outcomes are, in my view. At the end of that journey, when you look for intelligence out of that information, and remember, intelligence are the things that you know that no one else knows, to create a market edge. We've now been able to create what we call a Bible, and our Bible gets produced quarterly. And that Bible is digital and in hard copy as well, believe it or not. But they are the insights which we can then share across our entire business with all our external agency partners, with strategic management and decision making. And we speak one version of the truth when it comes to data-driven insights about our customers, and there's more evidence and less anecdote. So tough as the journey is, I would recommend anybody in the room to try and go on it. But getting the CMO and the CIO and smashing their heads together normally takes the CEO to get involved.
Right. So you have to start from the top.
Yeah, I had to drive that as a project from the very top to say, this has just got to happen, and I don't really care what your personal agendas are. You've got to make it happen. And I think this is why consumerization is putting more of a swing towards the CMO now rather than the CIO. So there's a bit of a panic in the CIO community as far as I can see. but it will work itself out.
And which organisation are you from?
I'm from Brother, a technology vendor.
Great.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
also really important that when those projects are initiated, people are really, really clear from the CEO, as you say, about the length of time. You know, they are big, complex projects that need to be put in place, and there's always that drive to, you know, we've been sinking a lot of money into this project, where's the return, and actually being really realistic that this is a multi-year project in terms of the big data warehouse analytics sort of, and generating the insights out of there, and just supporting that with the ongoing, keeping it small, test and learn that can then feed into that platform. I think that's also key to that journey as well.
Any other comments or questions? John?
Hi, I've been known to say before, we've got enough problems with our little data, let alone our big data. And actually at Adobe, one of the things we just introduced are kind of the nine numbers you need to know, and we're trying to standardize that. It's not just a IT and marketing challenge, it's a IT marketing operations, sales operations. I mean, if you're in a bigger brand, there's so many functions that need to work together. And I was also on a panel recently where it really struck home. Someone was saying, as a B2B marketer, you know, on the starting off that small data, there's only like 3 or 4 things you need to know. If you know your average deal size, your pipeline forecast you need, your average sales cycle, that's probably more than a lot of B2B marketers know right now. And if you start off with those, that gets you so much in terms of the conversation you have with sales. So I was just going to ask, you know, yourself, where should people start? What are the numbers that matter?
Yeah.
Where should they start?
Yeah, well, I guess sort of, you know, and there's a whole range of techniques that people can do to sort of see, you know, what are the key levers that really generate the difference in terms of my business, and that's often sort of the most interesting sort of parts of, you know, whether you go to the full range and doing the whole Ishikawa sort of piece, but, you know, actually understanding what levers is it that make a difference to my business, but potentially even more importantly, which ones can I actually act on and move, and what is the interrelationship between all of those different metrics, as you say. And so it's understanding that the base level from a data and analytics point of view about how all of those different numbers feed together, those different variables, I think.
Great. Any more questions?
I have a question.
Great.
What is your degree in?
Right, now we absolutely kill the audience. So my first degree was in theoretical physics. I then did a master's in the horrendously sounding quantum field theory and supersymmetry. And then I did a postgrad thing, which is unique to Cambridge, and they call it is part 3 of the mathematical tripos, which sounds weird, but Newton took it, so it should
The
be
guy's
right.
got cred. He's got credentials here.
No, I can do a dot.
Great. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.